Hey, welcome everybody to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. And me, one of your co-hosts, Jack Lord, along with Rodney West, and we are welcoming our special guest tonight, Bambi, Selina Majors.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, yeah, we've been trying to work on this. She's as technologically astute as I am. My stuff stays on 24 hours a day because I'm afraid if I turn it off, I'll never get back online again. So, but
Well,
anyway,
better late than never. I
yeah.
finally figured it out. So,
So we're gonna talk for a little while. Ask a few questions. You can tell some stories, whatever you want to do, and then we'll move on. We have a lot of our insiders, as we call them, that's going to be posting some questions, and we'll go to those guys and see what they have to say.
Paul Hatch, yes, it's Bambi. Yay!
this is all new kind of stuff to me. So, y'all have to overlook me. I feel shy. I feel like my first interview, I guess. I'm not used to all this technology.
Well, we'll walk you through it. We're not used to it either, but we just have a good time. Okay, let's just cut straight to the chase and just how did you start in professional wrestling? I know this.
Well, it's funny because I'd like to say I started when I first started going as a kid because I knew then, I guess when I was about 10 years old, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, that's when I first realized, hey, this is what I want to give my life to. And boy, when I say those words, Jack, what that means. You really do give your life to it. But Del Veazey is the first one that actually let me get my foot in the door. So I give him a lot of credit because I started out with him. When I met you, the Hunter and Bambi. Right. And I was like a valet back then. And I didn't really care too much for that. I wanted to actually get in the ring. And so Joyce Grable was the one that actually trained me and helped me actually get into the business. So it's a onion of a story because it wasn't just a one-step thing. Back then it was really hard to get into. So you had to get your foot in the door some way or another. And so I like to give credit to both of those people. And you too, Jack.
Yeah.
Now, what city, when you said that you were 10-year-old, what city, what towns were you going to watch wrestling?
At the Omni in Atlanta.
Big time.
Yeah. Me and my dad, we went there, which we went everywhere. We went to the TV studio in Atlanta. We drive down to the Channel 17, the old station down there. And then we even went to I was a little bit older when they moved to the big Ted Turner building. And I went down there a few times, but had driver's license then, and that was an early in the morning thing. So, but we'd go to the TV studio. We'd go to the Cobb County Civic Center and watch that on Sunday nights. And then, of course, Friday nights at the Omni. And then later on, they switched to Sundays at the Omni. So my dad took me every time the doors were open. And I knew for an early age that that's what I wanted to do. And that's who I am and all that good stuff.
What wrestler inspired you, if I could?
Ole Anderson.
Ole Anderson.
Or not, the controversial, much loved Ole Anderson. But that's who it was. Yeah.
Great.
But of course, there was others in that era. Tommy Rich, Wahoo McDaniel, Dusty Rhodes, Mr. Wrestling #2, which, all those great people. I ended up just, years later, when I got in the business, getting to be on the show and on the card with all those people, which is, every little girl's dream, of course. So
I still remember the first night we met was on a show with Ted Allen and Jimmy Powell promoted, and me and a partner of mine wrestled Wrestling 2 and Jerry Oates. And you were in the dressing room, and Dale had this thing about he didn't want nobody talking to you. And I
Yeah,
remember looking at Dale and just walking past him and talking to you anyway. Because
yeah,
I was married at the time. I wasn't looking for a date. I was looking, hey, I think I could book her and do something, with her. And
yeah.
it worked out for both of us.
It sure did. I remember that. I do. And that's what Dale, and I didn't know the etiquette of wrestling or whatever, but yeah, he always told me, don't say anything to anybody, sit in the corner. And it was almost like I had to ask him to be able to talk to anybody. Funny enough, that night, Joyce Grable was on that show, I believe,
Sure was.
and wrestled Peggy Lee, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And I actually met her and got to know her. And that was the first meeting. So it's funny how all the puzzle sometimes fits together. And we've been friends a long time. And
Yeah.
that's some good old days back then.
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought the world of Joyce and Peggy. I had met probably about a year before I met you, and I think we were on a show in Savannah, Georgia, together. So yeah,
Yep.
yeah, great times, great times. So what is your favorite opponent? Who was your favorite opponent that you ever got to get in the ring with?
Huh. Well, I think the feud with Peggy Lee and myself, without a doubt, has to go down as I don't know if you would call it chemistry in the ring or I don't really know what they call it nowadays, but I think that we had the best matches. I wrestled a lot of people, of course, me and Joyce, but she was my trainer, and but I love wrestling Leilani Kai and Judy Martin. There was quite a few that I love getting in the ring with, but I think because the longevity of the feud between Peggy Lee and Bambi, I think it was to me, like growing up, we seen Buzz Sawyer and Tommy Rich, but it never got old,
Yeah.
and everybody always still loved to see it, and they always excited the people and entertained the people. And not that we are even on the same level as them at all, but in my mind, as far as girl wrestlers and girl angles and feuds in that era, I like to think of it kind of like that.
Well, I know, I found myself involved in that series of matches, on several occasions, either in mixed tags or I don't know if you remember the night in Mississippi that the promoter just decided that Peggy had to have a manager. And y'all didn't know anybody there except me. And he was bound and determined he was going to put somebody out there with you. And that's when I said, well, I'll go because they trust me. Boy, that was so much fun that night. So much fun. But Rodney?
Tell us about that first match. You said you were valet for how long? Tell us about that first match, that first time that bell rang and you walked to the ring for the first time to actually wrestle.
Wow. Okay. I was 19 years old, and it was in Griffin, Georgia. And I was booked by Jody Hamilton, the Mask Assassin, and they ran Deep South Wrestling, which I seen recently on Facebook that his son, I always called him Nick Patrick. I think he's getting that revived, which is totally awesome. But Griffin, Georgia, and he booked me, and it was against Joyce. And I had a regular job then at a place, and all the people from work and my mom and my sister and her boyfriend and my nephew, they all loaded up and was all sitting at ringside. And it was really awesome. And boy, I was nervous, but you're going to make me cry now. But the feeling, the passion of knowing that, ever since you were a child, that's what you wanted to do. And to be able to get out there and do it, it was, such a dream come true moment. And I get emotional because I'm old one, and we get emotional like that. But it's like that now. It's like that now.
That is passion. That's the reason you're in it right there, because you loved it. You absolutely loved it. Tell me about that 1 minute. Say 1 minute, you're ready to go, fixing to hit that door. Tell me what you were feeling that minute before you hit that door.
Oh, wow. Just that dreams can come true. that little girl that I used to write it on my notebook, and all over my room I had big poster boards that of course I wanted to call myself Dynamite Dixie Majors. That's what I wanted my name to be. And I never thought of the word, Bambi, but so all over my room was posters, Dynamite Dixie Majors versus the Fabulous Moolah. And my dad bought me this little microphone thing, and I would stand in front of the dresser in the mirror and cut promos. And so I guess all that just like a tornado or whirlwind in my mind. And just being nervous, to be honest with you. I was so nervous. I was afraid just don't slip and fall on the way to the ring. You know what I mean? And, but gosh, what a feeling. And I think the reason I stayed in it so long and I cry now telling the story is because I did love it so much. It's like my true love of my life. Every time I think about it, or even now, I was involved recently in a group called WOW. And even then, like before the show, that same feeling that I'm describing to you now is actually what I feel. And I think that's what keeps us coming back for more. And, I was a kid. Somebody said, once it gets in your blood, it never gets out. And boy, that's a true saying.
I have said many times, people ask me about my love of the business. And I said, professional wrestling was never something I did. It's what I am.
Yeah.
And there's few of us that understand what we go through. And you and I, Rodney knows, you have to sacrifice a lot to make it in this business. And it's not always about money and fame and glory that don't pay the bills, but it does fill your soul,
Yeah. Yeah. And nothing, I don't want this to sound reverse chauvinist or anything, but because I know guys give up a lot too. But I think as a female wrestler, not saying I had to give up much more, but it's just different. I think it's might have been easier to be a guy wrestler and have your wife back home taking care of your kids, and you can still kind of have a little bit of some kind of normal lifestyle or something. But for a female, it's kind of all or nothing, and nowadays the times have changed, but back then when you're in a car most of the time traveling anywhere you can get a booking, it's just different, it's a little bit harder.
You guys spent more time on the road. Just by the simple fact that, guys like me, I could go into a promotion and I could homestead there for, as long as I wanted to, till I got tired and wanted to move somewhere else. But girls didn't have that option.
No.
Y'all came in for 1, 2, maybe 3 shows tops, and then you were off to somewhere else, and it might be years before you came back to that particular promotion again. So it's I'll agree with that. It's much harder on women.
Yeah. So you have to sacrifice a lot. And it's funny because I like the saying, the Fabulous Moolah told me that one time, because I had called her about going to the, her school and everything. And I was quite young then and too young to really go. And one advice she said to me, she said, you really got to love it. And she said, because if you don't love it, and she said, I mean, love it more than anything else. You got to love it more than anything else. She said, you'll never make it. She said, you might do it for a while, but you'll never make it. And that's really true. You got to really love it more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, sure do. Rodney, you got something there?
Well, you were talking about the Moolah, but I want to talk about what was your whole career. What was the proudest moment beyond the first match? What was your proudest moment?
There's been 2. Up until so I'll tell you, one was they nominated me at the CAC and gave me an award, and that was really nice because I'm gonna get too emotional. I needed to practice this.
No, it's okay.
because I never really considered myself at that level as a lot of the other girls. Like I was just an independent wrestler, never worked for WWE or anything like that. And so I really felt kind of undeserving of that. And so that was really emotional for me. Up until that, I would say working for WOW. And I always tell everybody I was lucky. I got over as a wrestler, but I wasn't the most athletic and I couldn't do a lot of those moves. I'm afraid of heights. I wasn't a big good on drop kicking or doing flips and all that kind of stuff. So, but to be able to train a lot of those girls out there and watch them perform and be a mentor to them, I could watch someone like Jungle Girl climb to the top rope and do a splash and know I taught her to do that, even though I was never able to do that. Or the Beast do some big crazy move that I was never strong enough to do. It's like I get to live vicariously through them and their athletic ability. So it's kind of, I don't know, that's very fulfilling to me because it's like I didn't get to do those moves or I wasn't whatever, but now I can teach them to do it. And when you watch them succeed at it, it's, I don't know. I never had children, but I guess I imagine it's kind of like watching your kids succeed at something. It gives you an enormous amount of feeling good about that. Proud moment. I guess a proud moment, as you ask.
It's amazing. You didn't tell me about a great match. You didn't tell me about a great show. You told me what you contributed to others. That speaks volumes of your character. I'll just tell you right now. And then for you to, I'm gonna smack you around a little bit. I've watched you wrestle. I have watched you wrestle. There's nothing wrong with what you did. We couldn't wait till the next time you wrestle. We couldn't wait to see you again. That's the thing. And you had a tremendous connection. No matter, and lots of times you would go into towns. People didn't know who you were, but by the time the match was over with, they certainly did. It's because just with the passion you have here today, you same passion you had in the ring. No matter how many times you would work against Peggy Lee, it was first time. And it was awesome. And it was always awesome. We knew it was going, and when we booked you, we knew that was going to be a great match. And we knew not to put you down too far to the beginning. We need to put you down midway in the card because nobody follows that. That was the case.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I had that conversation with many promoters on shows that you and Peggy were on. And I would ask, what's the lineup? And they'd have y'all second, third match. And I'd say, y'all need to rethink that. Because if you've got a strong main event, you better put them on right before because the rest of your show can't follow what they're fixing. Exactly right.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I appreciate that.
Okay. One last question, then we'll go to the insiders. And
they've got a bunch of stuff they want to say.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff coming. What's Selina Majors Bambi doing now?
Well, before the virus hit and all that stuff, I was out in California and I was working for WOW Women of Wrestling, David McLean, and we've had a long 30-year friendship, and he never gives up, and we were still doing that. We were on Access Television, and then a lot of people that follows it know, Impact Wrestling bought out that channel, and so we weren't on it anymore, but we were still running our wrestling school, and we were pursuing other distributors to get back on television. And then the coronavirus hit, and we had to close down and shut down. A lot of people know that Jeannie Buss, the owners of the Lakers, she was the funding behind WOW. And with the Lakers and everything, sports entertainment, sports, everything like that just kind of had to shut down. And California, more so than ever. So I ended up driving home to Georgia. And I've been in Georgia since last July, and just hanging out with my family and my dogs and cats, and not doing a whole lot of anything right now. But that's what I was up to.
Well, all right. So now there's no reason we can't have lunch sometime. So now that Now that I know that.
Well, I was going to ask a question. When all of the apocalypse is over, do y'all plan on reopening or trying to reopen?
Oh yeah, I talk to David a couple times a week, and he's actually. I always say all things work together for good, and I'm a big believer in that. And it's funny. I don't want to get emotional again, but we had to take a hiatus before my mother was real sick. She passed away in 2015, and it's funny how things work out. Right before that, we were getting a big deal, and then for 2 years we just went on hiatus. But I was able to come home and take care of my mother, and that means the world to me. And to look back and think that that was able to happen, and then we picked right back up, in 2016. And David has a mother who's elderly, and he's out in California, and she's in Indianapolis. So I'm glad that he got to go home, and he's been spending time with her. And so I think all things work together. But we talk to each other a couple times a week. We have like over 24 shows in the can that nobody's never seen before. So as soon as I can't divulge too much. He's got things in the fire. So
we'll be happy to post them right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We will premiere the first show. I'm going to say next Wednesday night. What do you think?
Okay. There you go. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. I still believe he'll never stop. So,
sure. Send us a sample over or something. We'll be happy to post it for you. It'd be awesome to see. We love to have sometimes other promotions are upset because we post footage from their stuff, but we love to post footage.
I'd love to do it. I mean, because we worked so hard on those shows, and I was a big hand behind the scenes as well as helping train. And I got to give shout out to Malaya Hosaka and Jesse Jones, who were great trainers there and helped tremendous. And to be fair, Tessa Blanchard, she was there when we first opened up the school. She was my assistant trainer and tremendous wrestler. Everybody knows Tessa Blanchard, and that was like a little dream come true too, because as you asked earlier, Ole was my favorite, but everybody knows the Four Horsemen and Tully. And there was times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can remember seeing Tully and Ole and grew up watching that. And then his kid is sitting here next to me in the training school. So that was awesome. And Malaya Hosaka, who's been a friend of mine for 30 years, my one and only partner from way back. She came in, always has my back. And Jessie Jones, tremendous talent. She was a great trainer there. So I need to give them credit. When I say I'm a trainer, I want to share all of it, because they all had their input in it as well, making everything work. So.
All right, that's great. Rodney, do you have the capability of bringing up our question?
I have no capability whatsoever. Was I supposed to have that capability?
There we go.
Am I going to have to put my glasses on now?
No, we'll read them to you. This is Wesley Strickland. He says, good evening, Wes. This is Wesley from Columbus, Georgia. You've been there.
I'm not ashamed. I'll wear them. I'm 54 years old. I'm proud, so I don't care. I'll put them on.
Glenn Shelton saying hello to everybody. And then we've got Larry Bebop Hathcock. And he's,
you remember Bebop, don't you, from Mickey Henry's play?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's about
I was supposed to be at a show for Mickey not long ago, but I think the Corona outbreak, we had to postpone it. So good people out that way.
Yeah.
Next. Our director's not in again. This is our artiste of Pro Wrestling Inside Out, the Chaplain Freddie Rooster Roper. Hello, guys. We're doing good tonight. Bambi's here with us. Next, Richard Hood. Good evening, Richard. And Victor Nash, one of our supporters. Hello, everybody. Paul Hatchett is in the house. Good evening, gentlemen. And Larry Williams Lawrence III. That's a ring name if you ever had one. Hello, lady and gentlemen. Greetings from Charleston, West Virginia. And then we got Paul Hatchett. It's Bambi. That's the one I was telling you about earlier.
All right. Hey, Paul.
Next. He's fallen. Our director is falling asleep again. He might have lost it. He might have lost it. Wait a minute. We missed one. That was a good one. That was Joe Hamblin. He's hello, everyone. Paul Hatchett. Ain't seen you work on a show for me in Woodville. Okay. Ain't seen you. You worked the show for me in Woodville, Alabama.
Awesome.
Paul Hatchett. And we're waiting for the next one to pop up. Maybe I should go on up to see what's going on here. Next.
Brent hasn't recovered from your graphics sent over
Did
before the show.
Fall asleep there? Okay. There's Joe Hamlin. He said hello, everyone. Oh, there. Wait a minute. There comes Brent West. And your microphone's not even on. Even
I need to come on here and handle this thing.
Yes.
You not even handle this stuff that's thrown up here.
Yeah.
Well, throw it. You're certainly throwing it up, all right. Throwing it up there.
All right, I'm gonna go off of here and I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna take it back over to y'all. I tell you, you can't find good help no more, Bambi. Let me tell you that
right now. You're falling asleep there. You're supposed to be directing. Instead of that, you're eating popcorn and stuff.
Hey, I'm innocent. I don't have controls.
Kevin Finley. Sorry, Bambi. Rodney is a Kevin Sullivan fan.
Cool. I watched Kevin. I've known Kevin a long time. I watched him when I was a kid, and actually, he come to see me out in California, and yeah, good guy.
All righty then.
I got my glasses back on to read stuff.
Chad Mojo Hitter Coleman. Hello, guys. It's always great to come and listen to you talk about the glory days of wrestling. And we talked about some stuff, good stuff happening today, too. Lynn Gross, evening, people. All right. Brent. William Lowry Jr. Hello, Jack. It's been a while.
Hey, buddy.
Michael Barr. Hello. He's short to the point. There we go. All right. Victor Nash. What's your thoughts on women's wrestlers today?
Okay. I think that they've exceeded everyone's expectations. Right now, the women are probably more popular than they ever have been. And I think that's awesome. I don't know how.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I think the women are really just outdoing the men right now. I think the men are desperately to try to get attention, and they've lost something. It's just noise. When the women's out there, they have everybody's attention. That's my opinion of that.
I think so too. And I think a lot of they've been given the opportunity and given the platform, and that's sometimes all you need. And I mean, their athletic ability is just awesome. And, I hope they continue to, push them in the right direction. And I had to embrace an era of where the platform was gravy matches and lingerie matches. And I never participated in any of that, but it's unfortunate that was the only platform. If you wanted to work for that company, that's what you had to do. So I feel, I don't know what the word is. I feel I'm very thankful that they don't have to do that, and that they've got an equal platform now to be in angles and storylines, just like, the guy wrestlers, and given the opportunity, they've really done well. So.
There's Glenn Shelton. Good to see you. Excellent. Good to see you. Kevin Penley. Yeah. I liked Ole too. Great wrestling mind. Yeah, Ole was great. How many times did you hold the women's championship title? That was from Michael Barr.
Jack, you want to answer that one? I don't know. I lost count.
She's just like me. That was, not really. We never cared about that. It was just part of, came hand in hand with the business, but we never wrote records down.
No, I never really kept up with it. I was fortunate enough to wrestle in a lot of organizations that I was the champion for, and I wish I had a number, but it would be incorrect. So I don't. With all the fact checking today, I better just say I don't remember.
What do you mean? How many times did I have it? I never lost it. That's the way you do it.
There you go.
I retired. Ed Anderson. Drop a line to say hello to all of you. Ed from the AWA. Right.
AWA. Actually, that was one of the first. That was the first major organization. Like I said, I worked for Deep South Wrestling and a lot of, I guess you would call them independent groups, but AWA was the first, big group. Back then there was only three, NWA, WWF, and AWA. And AWA booked me, and I'll never forget Wahoo McDaniel calling me and booking me, and Ray Stevens was up there. And wow, that was a long time ago, but 1987. But first big group I ever worked for. Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, great memories.
Excellent. Mickey Mayfield, did you ever face Moolah before her retirement?
Did I ever fight? No. I had an opportunity one time to wrestle her, and unfortunately she wasn't able to make the booking. It was early in my career for someone named Ben Masters down in South Georgia. And but she wasn't able to make the booking, and she sent Donna Cristantello, and I wrestled Donna, who was a great wrestler and big asset to Moolah's all of Moolah's girls, and a good trainer for all the girls, and had an excellent match with her. But I wish I would have been able to wrestle Moolah. That would have been really good. But back then that was like saying to an independent wrestler, have you ever wrestled Ric Flair? Because that was just kind of unheard of that I would have even got that opportunity, especially at an independent show. I think, now that we're more open about wrestling and everything, I was green and young, and she probably sent Donna to make sure that, I was okay. I don't really know. I can't tell you, but just from me being older now, that sounds logical to me. And, but I wish I would have been able to wrestle her, but I never did.
Charles Alfred. Hello. I remember you. Were you on a show in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and Peggy Lee Leather? That's Charles Alfred. Thomas Alexander, y'all did have good matches. That's what he said. That's what I said too, right there.
Well, thank you very much.
Kevin Penley, ask her who was the better women wrestlers, her area, who in your era, and what she sees today. So he was wanting to know the wrestlers that when you were wrestling, and now the wrestlers of today. Who do you think's good?
Okay, in my era, well, I look at it from a different point of view, I guess. Like, Peggy Lee Leather, she was a great wrestler. Judy Martin was a great wrestler. Leilani Kai, of course, Joyce Grable. Joyce, I forget Joyce a lot because me and Joyce wrestled a lot, but then she actually retired and got out of it. She had a son, and she wanted to spend more time with her son. So I forget her sometimes because that was early in my career, but I can't, leave her out. But Joyce Grable, Judy Martin, Susan Green, Leilani Kai. I'll tell you something that I never actually got a chance to really wrestle, but I thought was great, was Sherry Martell. I think she was probably before her time. Is that the right way to say that? Like she was really good, and she was given a good opportunity and was very good. Probably one of the very best. I never got in the ring with her either. So I did, but it was like a 6 or 8 way tag. And so I'm not sure, she might even just been the manager. I'm not sure. That's been a long time ago, but okay. And so of today's era, unrecognized, I guess, for her, cause she hasn't been out there much on a lot of stuff. I think Tessa Blanchard is probably, one of the very best out there. Yep. She hadn't really had a platform to show her potential, but I think she's somebody that is very talented, just natural ability. I don't know, just very natural ability. Charlotte Flair, I think, is a really tremendous wrestler. gosh, I don't know. They're all so good now. I'd say they're the top two, but I can't say anything bad about any of them. They're all just unbelievable good. So they blow my mind watching them sometimes. They're so athletic and so fast now, and just which wrestling is just it's a different style now. But you know, they're all just
now,
very good.
When you're training, since we mentioned style, when you're training, do you train for the new style, or are you training you know, the basic
all of it. I think the foundation, actually Tessa Blanchard said something one time to me, and it really stuck in my mind, because I guess I was maybe not self-doubting myself, but thinking, wow, you know, can I train these girls still? Like, I just know this old school style. And she was trained by George South, and I love George South, and he's a great guy. I love him to death. And she said that something he had told her is, because, you know, he's a little bit older than I am, is the foundation never changes, you know, so even though the styles are more enhanced now and all that, the foundations, you have to have a good solid foundation. So that's why I brought in a lot of extra trainers, because I did want the girls to get the best opportunity they could. And so I trained them the foundation and the old school style. And then Tessa came in and taught them a whole lot. And then we had Malaya is so gifted. She's like one of these people, what do you call it, where they can do right-handed or left-handed. She can do both styles. She can do to yesterday's style, and she's been able to be one of the few people that adapts with the women, I think, that can wrestle the new style as well. Same with Jessie Jones, who I'm not sure. I know Tracy Smothers had a lot to do with her career, but she can wrestle old school style or even the fast paced today's wrestling. So I think we had an excellent, you know, that's a good team there of, you know, old, new, and two that.
And that's what we will see on that special edition of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out next Wednesday, when we show part of your show from next week.
Do I now? Yeah.
Okay, Michael Mark. I'm still trying. I'm trying, everybody. I'm trying. Selena, we're checking.
Yeah.
Were there any women wrestlers in Continental Championship Wrestling? And when did they wrestle? And if so, yeah, we had some. Yeah, we had some. They didn't. They were special attractions. That was the way that was done then. Did you? You didn't get to. Did you wrestle for Continental Championship?
I did. I'm not sure who was in charge back then, but I that was one of the. They brought me in to be with Tom Pritchard.
Oh, yeah, that is right. That's right.
Having, I'll just say, a feud. I don't know how to use the wording anymore these days. But he had a feud with the Dirty White Boy and the Dirty White Girl. And so they brought me in, and the first time I was booked, they had me dressed in cowboy boots and jeans, and I ran out through the audience and saved him, and then I was in his corner. So we did some. I don't know if we ever got to mixed tag. Of course, Kim was very limited. I don't think she was really trained. She was more true manager valet. But we did do a lot of the, you know, standing in his corner. And then I came back a little bit later, but gosh, I really can't remember. I mean, it might have been, just like you said, a special attraction. You know, I can't remember who I wrestled. Might have been Peggy Lee. I don't know, but yeah, I love wrestling for that, you know, for Continental.
Oh yeah, we had if you remember, even back to Southeastern, they had it was Joyce Grable and Judy Martin came to do Dothan, and I forget who they wrestled down there. It seemed like Roy Lee Welch and a partner. I can't remember who his partner was. Same thing that they did in Atlanta. Do you remember when Joyce Grable and Judy Martin was in the tag team tournament? That was awesome. That was
so great.
Did you watch that?
I was there.
My goodness. When Steve-O power slammed Joyce Grable. And did you see the one in Columbus? Were you the one in Columbus?
No, we didn't go to Columbus, but I was there at the one at the Omni.
And when she power slams it, people went crazy. And in Columbus, Steve-O slapped her. So, and the people went nuts.
Wow.
She slapped him, and she got him back in the corner, and she slapped him once, and then she slapped him again, and then when she went to slap him for the third time, he blocked it and hit her. The place exploded. This is in her hometown now, Columbus, Georgia.
Wow.
The place went nuts. They were against Jock Rougeau or Jerry Roberts at the time and Steve O, and that was an awesome match. I'm surprised they didn't do it again. It was just awesome.
And funny enough, and I will to tell this, Ole was the man in charge back then, and that was very because he didn't really even care for girl wrestlers, and I say girl wrestlers because that's what they were called back then. But I think he's seen the potential of the money in making of that, and he had the open minded enough to, even though he didn't really. You know what I mean? To really like to pull that off. That was really awesome.
Very good.
So Ole out there.
Richard Hood, Bambi, you were one of my favorite wrestlers. That's Richard Hood.
Well, thank you.
Yvonne Burns. This is a true passionate professional wrestler, and she absolutely is. Michael Barr, PMA, positive mental attitude. Selina Majors. God bless you. All right.
Thank you.
Kevin Penley, what was the biggest house you ever wrestled on?
Oh, wow. Over in Europe, I went on a overseas trip to Europe back in the 80s, 88, I think, 88 or 89. And they had put together, it was such a bunch of great wrestlers, and they had all just came off of what was called WWF at the time, which is WWE now. But the Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hercules Hernandez, Greg Valentine, Tom Zink. I mean, I could just keep going on and on. It was everybody was a big name, and they wanted one girls match, and I was so fortunate and blessed to be able to. It was me and Candy Divine against Peggy Lee and Leilani Kai, and I think it was like 36,000 people. I think that they said was in the arena. And I had just been if 500 people's in a building, I was like, this is a great house, 500 people in an army. Are you kidding me? And wow, just that was unbelievable. But I was almost in shock that whole tour anyways, because I'd only been in the business a couple of years, and here I'm on a traveling bus with Ultimate Warrior and all these guys. I mean, that was just, I was like, it's sometimes you just feel like, is this some dream? I'm going to wake up one day and think this isn't even real. So, but yeah, that was probably the biggest crowd. And, another big crowd was at the Forum for WOW when we did a pay-per-view back in, I think it was the year 2000. And, it was nowhere compared to that, but the Forum holds a lot of people, and it was pretty packed too. And that was nice because, like I said, that was something that I was grassroots, met David when he first started, and something that I had my hand in. So more so than just being one girls match on a show, that show was like, I don't know. That was really special to me. It was a big crowd, but it was probably more special to me because of what we were trying to do and accomplish.
Excellent. Glenn Allen Shelton, you and Candy came to a show in Nashville around 2011 for Mike Porter.
Yep, I remember that. I like Candy. She's a good friend of mine. And I remember Mike Porter. I actually think he might have passed away. But
he did.
Yeah. Actually, he let me stay at his house when I first came back to California around that time. I don't know when it was exactly what year, but he was running shows, and me and a friend of mine who was the referee out there, and he wanted to see what it was like being on the road. And Mike booked me up there for a couple of weeks against Leilani Kai, and he was real nice to me, real nice man.
All right, we got Chaplain Freddie. He's got love your passion, Bambi. That's awesome, man. That's what makes it happen. I mean, you got to have the passion to be on it. Michael Barr, did you ever wrestle against Miss Linda?
I actually think I might have, but it was probably a mixed tag match, and it was probably really early in my career. But I feel like when I first started, Adrian and Miss Linda was on a lot of shows with me, and I kind of think, if my memory serves correctly, I might have been in a mixed tag with them at one time.
Excellent. Larry Bebach Hathcock. How is Peggy?
From what I hear, she's doing good. you know, she's on Facebook, I think, every now and again.
Yep, every great now and then.
Let's see. Kevin asked, did you ever do a Japanese tour?
Yes, I did. Wasn't a big fan of that, but I went there 3 times, and all 3 times, the last time I was like, that's enough for me. Yeah, and especially in the 80s. I mean, whoo, that was rough. The girl wrestling there was so different than here in the States, and it was hard. It was hard, long tours, and you didn't get booked. I mean, you were booked over there for 6 weeks at a time, so got really homesick and wasn't used to traveling. And I hate to use the word miserable, but I think I was miserable all 3 trips. I just, I would rather have been at some National Guard Armory in Alabama than over there on a tour bus. It was hard, but we all did it because the pay was good, and everybody back then, it was a status. Have you been to Japan? And so that was important to me, and I'm glad I went, but not a lot of fond memories of that. Trying to find a Big Mac, I think, was about my fondest memory, finding a Big Mac over there.
Victor Nash, what's your thought of Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling?
So this is a tricky question here, because we got to keep in mind that David McLean, who is who I do Wow Women of Wrestling, was founder of Glow. And because I know him so well and we've become friends for over 30 years, his intent, I know his intent and all that. But at the time when Glow came out, and I've told him this, so this is no secret, I thought it was like hee-haw making fun of lady wrestling. And as you can see, I have so much passion for it that I was maybe insulted or offended in the beginning when it first came out. But after getting to know David and knowing that wasn't his intent, I've changed my opinion over the years. And doing Wow and training girls that are out in California, that I look at it different. Like, oh, you shouldn't be in wrestling unless, that's your lifelong dream, like it was me. But, you got to be open-minded. And some of those girls, I tell you, they might not have been a wrestling fan their whole life or wanted to be a woman wrestler their whole life. But after getting in the ring, they fell in love with it. And it goes back to that saying, it gets in your blood. And I've met some girls out there that are actresses that love it just as much as I do now and have just as much passion as I do. So I was wrong about it, and I took offense and was too sensitive and didn't really get the whole thing. So my opinions changed from when I first seen it, I hated it, until now I can understand it. I'm more open-minded about it, and I understand that, they have a place in this sport just like we all do.
There is Pat Rose. Bambi. That's what he said.
Hey, Pat.
he said he was always in love with you.
Hey, Pat, I love you too. And your son is awesome. I follow them on Facebook.
We gotta follow up on seeing how his music's coming along, because we had a.
Oh, I gotta put my glasses on here. Is that Mike Mason?
That is Mike Mason.
Hey, Mike.
Well, 2 of my favorite people. What's up, Rodney and Bambi? Well, you too, Jack.
Hey, Mike.
I'm gonna kill him.
Memories with Mike, and I heard his partner passed away too.
Yeah.
So my deepest sympathy to him and his family. And they were good guys, really good guys. I always loved being in the dressing room, hanging out with them.
Shannon Kathleen Moore. Hello, Rodney and Bambi from Panama City Beach. Excellent. Joe Evans, I've refereed you and Peggy Lee Leather twice. Was an honor. And that was from Joe Evans.
Thank you.
Brent, what is our time getting to be here? I think we're coming up to the end, are we? Again, asleep. There he is. There he is.
Yes, we are running out of time. There's a lot more people ask questions, but and by the way, I'm just in the dark here since I wasn't online. But yes, we do.
Well, Even lights on, you're still in the dark. But we're not talking about that. But yeah, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate y'all inviting me to be on here. I hate I messed up last time and something came up and it slipped my mind, and I apologize for that. And tonight I didn't think I was going to make it, but I'm glad I was able to figure it out. So
did you have a good time? That's the question.
Yes, I did. And this is my very first. I don't like doing these because I'm not hip on all this new stuff.
Well, we're all family
I can't say
here.
no to Jack Lord. He's been my friend my whole life, and he always talks me in, and I can't say no to him. So I love you, Jack, and I've had so much fun. I'm sorry I'm such a crybaby, but I just love wrestling. It brings up a lot of great memories with me, and those are happy tears. So
yeah.
Well, your family here. We're all family, even our insiders. We're all one big family here. We love wrestling, and you're welcome anytime. Come on back.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, don't go anywhere, Selena. We're gonna go off the air, but we'll have a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Thank everyone so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside Now, and we will see you next Monday as we talk about Mid-South Wrestling. That's next Monday right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.